Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Omar Harris, and I'm back with another presentation for you. Now, today, what I want to do is I want to do another book review on the second third of the book that I'm reading. The book is called, it's a book by Robert Greene. It's called The Laws of Human Nature. So, a couple months back, I remember that I did a book review as it pertains to the first six chapters. And what I did was I chose three of those six chapters that were the most interesting to me, and I kind of went in depth as to some of the things that I picked up from those first six chapters. So today, what I want to do is that I've gotten further along in the book, and as a matter of fact, I'm about 70%. I have about 70% of the book read. So what I want to do today is that I want to give a analysis of the chapters 7 through 12. So those middle six chapters, and then I'm going to touch on three of those chapters that I thought were the most interesting out of the book. Now, the first chapter that I want to get into is the chapter 9. The chapter 9, where it says the confront your dark side, and that is the law of repression. Now, the whole what Robert Greene is trying to get at in this chapter here is that he understands that we as humans have two sides to our personality. However you want to slice it, whether it be a good side, whether it be a bad side, whether it be a side that we show the public, and then a whole different side that we are in private. But lo and behold, we have two sides. And what society has taught us to do is that we tend to repress or hide that dark side that's within us. And I remember, it's interesting that I came across that chapter because I remember I did a presentation for a boys council class with youth advocate projects where I work. And one of the slides that I brought up, I was talking about the whole idea of being bold, being aggressive. And one of the points I brought up was that according to Sigmund Freud, who's like a psychoanalysis, old school scientist, is that we have two drives, two things that drives the human beings: sexual desire and aggression. And if you think about that, aren't those the two things that we I would say most frequently, those two themes occur in our dreams? Is our sexual desire and aggression. So it was interesting how he brought up in this chapter is that we tend to hide and tend to repress the dark side, but that is not necessarily a good thing. Now, those dark traits, if you repress them long enough, that dark side is going to come out. Y'all hear what I'm saying? The dark side is going to come out, and you can see it in people. People have these emotional outbursts. You know, they just start wilding out, and then you're just like, whoa, where did that come from? Because they were repressing something, and it tends to leak out. You have people that does this, what is called a vehement denial of something. You get accused of something, somebody think you did something, and you go over the top to prove that you don't indulge in that thing. But that can be a telltale sign that whatever it was that you accused of, whether it's some type of personality trait, whether it's some type of addiction or some type of vice that you are opening arms so against, lo and behold, that vice is true as far as it is, as far as being in your life, right? You have these people or these guys that I like to call that had a tough guy syndrome. You know, they act big and macho on the outside, but if you do some further digging, you will see that they are hiding some insecurities from within. Because what would be the point if you got to every chance you got to show somebody how macho, how tough you are, if you didn't have any insecurities to hide in the first place? You will also see this type of behavior that goes on with people that are the quote unquote saints. And what I mean by that is these are people that they present themselves as if they're perfect. They don't have no flaws. They have no vices. They have all the virtue and the values in the world. But if you behind closed doors, those same people had skeletons in their closet. You just don't know about them yet. So those are all ways that repressed or that dark side tends to leak out from somebody that's afraid to show their dark side. Now, what the main thing that I got from that chapter is that it is okay to show that dark side every once in a while. In other words, it's okay to give people smoke when they deserve it. You can't have this, oh, I'm going to go along to get along type of mentality when you are somebody that has conviction, that you are somebody that has standards and values that you live by. Because the moment that somebody comes along and tries to either do harm to you or try to slander you and ruin your credibility, at that point, that's when you have all the right to show that dark side. Check them and give them smoke to let them know, like, hey, no. That's not going. I'm not going to tolerate that. And if it rubs them the wrong way, so be it. Because at the end of the day, that is what makes you more human. That's what makes you more relatable to people. So I found that chapter very interesting. That was chapter 9. Another chapter that I found interesting was chapter 10. Be aware of the fragile ego. And it's getting into the law of envy. Now, right off the back, I knew that was going to be a fire chapter just from the title alone. Because let's be real. We all envy somebody. That is an emotion that's within us. It's part of our human nature. We envy somebody because we are always comparing ourselves to other people. And we see what other people have, and if they have things that we desire and that we don't have, we have a tendency to envy those people. Why do you think social media is so popular and so prevalent today? Because you see this all day long. People are constantly comparing themselves to other people on social media. And it's almost to their detriment, because the people on social media are only going to point out their good qualities, their good values, or their good days. They're not going to talk about the bad day that they had for the most part. They're not going to talk about the flaws and issues in their relationship, but they will put on this facade as if everything is perfect in their life. And one of the interesting things that I got from that chapter is that Robert Greene talks about is that envious people would purposely make friends with the people that they secretly envy. I'm going to say that again because I don't think y'all got that. Envious people would purposely become friends with somebody that they secretly envy in order to get closer to them. And the signs of envy are, some of it is obvious and some of it is not quite obvious. So I'm going to go through some of the signs. You can tell somebody's envious of you or of somebody by the expressions that they have on their face. Where their face get tight They want to say congratulations, but they don't. You know, it doesn't come from a pure place because their face is tight. Their jaws are clenched when they say that. So you can tell by the expression on their face. You can tell by backhanded compliments. Oh, I'm sure y'all had those before. Oh, I'm going to school to be a doctor. Oh, what you want to be a doctor for? A doctor is cool and all, but would you rather want to do this instead? You know, it's a backhanded compliment that has an element of envy, an element of jealousy in there. Also, backbiting and gossip. And I know, you guys have come across these people. Every time you're in their presence, they always are talking trash about somebody that they may know or somebody that you both know personally. And best believe, if they got a whole lot of gossip and they're talking trash about that other person, you think they don't talk about you when you're not around? That's a telltale sign of somebody that's envious if they always got something negative to say about somebody else. Because best believe they're talking about you when you're not around. So towards the end of the chapter, Robert Greene, he gives some tips on how we can minimize that envy that's within us. One of the ways to minimize that is that if we move closer or take a closer look at successful people, because let's be honest, we put successful people on the highest pedestal possible. But if we actually take a look into their lives, we can see that, wow, these successful people are human too. They go and use the toilet. They take a dump, use the toilet. They wake up with morning breath. They cry, they sleep, they bleed, just like everybody else. So why am I holding this person on such a high pedestal and they're flawed humans just like I am? So that's one way to try to combat that whole envy mentality. Another way is to emulate them. We tend to, those people that we put on a high pedestal because they have some extraordinary talent, some extraordinary ability. Well, don't you know if you are consistent and you work hard, you can be extraordinary and you can improve in your own way too? You may be able to accomplish some of those same milestones or have some of the same accomplishments as those people that you admire and you look up to. And then another thing too is appreciating greatness. Appreciating greatness, because we're all made with different talents, different abilities, different passions, and different interests in life. So if you come across somebody that's really, really special in an area, learn to appreciate that person's greatness, because you don't know how much hard work that went into that. You don't know how many times that person may have failed or may have come up short before they achieve that level of greatness that they're currently at. So that's what I found interesting about that chapter. Now, the third chapter that I want to get into, it talks about reconnecting with the masculine and the feminine energy. That was chapter 12 in the book, the masculine and the feminine energy. It's the law of gender fluidity. Law of gender rigidity or fluidity is one of those words, one of those terms that was used. But what that's pretty much saying is that as somebody that's masculine, as a masculine male, it's good that I'm able to identify feminine characteristics or feminine qualities within myself or within other people. And And he had brought up an interesting point. As we've gotten older, as we try to fit into the box that society puts us in, we tend to over identify on one of these extremes, either the masculine extreme or the feminine extreme, because that is pressure that comes down from society. You know, as a little boy, you was infatuated with your mother. You was infatuated with your mother. And those feminine qualities that she had rubbed off on you to a certain degree as a young man. But as you gotten older and you've matured and you tried to fit into this concept of social concept of what society wants you to be, that's when, myself included, I over-identified with the masculine side. Now, there is nothing wrong with being a masculine male, but there are times when it comes down to problem solving that you may have to go a different approach in order to have a better outcome or a better solution. One of the things that I do with the youth that I mentor with the Youth Advocate Program is that I have them do a personality test, a personality survey. And the last 5 questions of that personality survey is based on decision making. And what it reveals is whether or not you more of a objective decision maker, which is somebody that thinks along the lines of right or wrong, black or white. There's no gray area. We make decisions based on the information, the facts, the details that we have accumulated, and based off of that research and that data, the numbers, the facts and the figures, that's how we go about making our decision. So that's the objective standpoint. Now, making the decision from a subjective standpoint is based on feelings and emotions, not only within yourself, but within other people. So I would explain how we as men tend to identify with an objective approach to thinking and solving problems, right? While a lot of cases, women tend to identify with the subjective thinking. They're thinking about how is this decision going to impact my relationship that I have with other people. And so what that chapter challenges us to do is that we need to be more in tune with the opposite gender as far as a way of thinking, because we may come across some problems, some issues in life where I may have to take more of a subjective approach to how to handle this issue or this problem. And that comes with being more in tune with the feminine energy. So those are the main things that I got from chapters 7 through 12 as far as reconnecting with the masculine and feminine energy, being aware of the fragile ego, and confronting our dark side. So I'm going to continue. Like I said, I'm about 70% done with the book. So I plan on finishing that book very soon. I know I've been busy throughout the summer, working 2 jobs, being on the hustle, being on the grind. But once I finish the book, then I'm going to come back and do a follow-up video on the last 6 chapters. I hope y'all have a great day. I'll see you later.